And if you feel like you've held yourself back from expressing your truth, from expressing what is coming up within you, if you feel like there's been moments throughout your journey where you felt called to say something or share something or do something, if there's been a moment where you've said yes to something that you know deep down you didn't want to fucking do it, and this episode is for you. If you've got people in your life right now that don't respect your boundaries, that walk all over you, even though you communicate your boundaries, even though you're speaking your truth, then this episode is also going to be really helpful for you. You beautiful freaking human being. Welcome to episode 4 of Soul Speaks with Spack. Today I'm dropping in live from Algesur, Portugal. I've been here for the last 3 months. It's freaking beautiful here, except it's also fucking boring and isolating, especially if you don't have a vehicle. So I'm moving on to a new chapter in this journey. By you expressing your truth, by you honoring your truth, you become close to yourself. And this is what draws people in. This is what magnetizes people. This can also be what repels people, because they can be confronted by you speaking truthfully. They might even judge you or shame you because they feel uncomfortable when you speak your truth or when you put a boundary in place. They might think, who the fuck are you to tell me that I can't do this, or that I need to respect this boundary? Speaking up, speaking my truth, having a say has been scary. It's been overwhelming, but it's also been incredibly impactful and powerful. And it's something that I'm still learning. I don't sit here and act like I've got it all figured out, or that I'm the best at speaking my truth or putting boundaries in place. But I want to share with you things that have really helped me, which has actually strengthened my relationships. It's strengthened the relationship that I have with myself. And these are tips and practices that I'm going to continue to use on my journey. Before we dive in, I'm curious to know, with what I've just shared, what you're working through right now. Whether it's understanding your truth, whether it's understanding what is coming up for you and figuring out how to communicate that with someone in a way that invites them in. Perhaps it's putting boundaries in place. Perhaps it's stepping into something new that is closer towards what your true self wants, what your heart wants. And there's fear that comes up with that. There's judgment that comes up with that. Let me know in the comments what you are stepping into right now, what your biggest challenge is right now. All right, so let's freaking dive in. Growing up, I was the yes man. I was the people pleaser. I was the guy that would bury my emotions. I wouldn't acknowledge them. I wouldn't really feel them. I'd be so driven by the next thing that I had to do. And with this came a lot of built up resentment and anger and frustration. And I'd get to a point where I'd snap and I'd be super triggered. Maybe I'd punch a wall. Maybe I'd tell someone to fuck off. Maybe I'd say something hurtful to someone. And the truth is that still comes up for me. What I'm learning to do is to breathe into and make space for the feelings that are coming up within me. When I feel triggered, I understand that it's an opportunity to look within and to learn and to grow and to heal and to communicate in a way that invites someone in. So when it comes to expressing your truth, you have the potential to invite someone in. I want to give you a few examples and you tell me what you think is going to be more inviting and more helpful. If someone out there triggers me and I say, the way that you just acted really pissed me off, don't do that again. How do you think they're going to respond to that? Do you think that they're going to be defensive and they're going to want to defend themselves? Or do you think that they're going to understand that and say, look, I'm sorry, I understand, it's okay? Again, there's no right or wrong or good or bad answer here. This is simply an awareness practice. On the other hand, if I said, hey, the way that you spoke to me before made me feel misunderstood, and I would really value if in future you met me with more curiosity. You asked me a question rather than assuming the way that I am. Do you see the difference? The first example was blaming and projecting, which leads to defensiveness. And the second way was honoring the feelings that are coming up within me and expressing that with someone in a way where I am owning my experience. I am feeling frustration. I am feeling sadness. I am feeling anger. And by me honoring what I'm feeling and expressing that to someone, whether it's a partner, whether it's my parents, whoever it is, or just a friend, I'm actually inviting them in by acknowledging what is on my heart, by acknowledging the feelings that are coming up within me. So that's lesson one when it comes to speaking up, to speaking truthfully about what you are feeling. And to add to this, it is so important to lead with compassion and patience and curiosity. And this is a reminder for me, because I know that when I am super heightened, when I'm super triggered, I have this way of just reacting and saying things that I don't truly mean, and blaming other people, looking for everything and everyone out there to blame, rather than taking a minute to breathe into it, to feel into it, to say, hey, it's okay, I got you. I know this is a pattern that's coming up. You're working through it, you're growing through it. It's time to express what is coming up for you. And then leading. It's easier said than done, but I guarantee this is where the real opportunities for growth, for healing, for transformation lie. If there's been a moment in your life where you've been asked if you want to do something, or if you could help with something, and deep down you feel like you don't have the capacity, you don't have the bandwidth to really help and to really do that, but you've said yes anyway, because you don't want to disappoint someone, you don't want to let them down, you don't want them to think that you're too good for them to help them, or whatever it is, whatever the story is. Understand that by you doing this, you are not honoring your truth. And perhaps what you're doing now is helping and supporting from a place of emptiness. And it's an energy that can be felt when you do things because you think you should do something. People can feel that. They might not say that, but they can feel it. And you can feel it. And what ends up happening is you start resenting yourself, you start resenting them, and it bubbles away. And if it is not experienced, if it is not felt, and if you do not honor what is coming up for you and express that with whoever's asking for your support, it's just going to perpetuate the situation. So again, if someone asks you, can you help me with this? Do you want to come to this event? And deep down you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. I want to invite you to really sit with that opportunity, that invitation. And you can buy yourself time. You can say, hey, look, can you give me a moment? Can you give me a day? Can you give me a week to sit with this invitation? Can you let me feel into this? You actually don't even have to ask, can you let me feel into this? You express and you say, I'm going to take 48 hours to be with this opportunity. I want to feel into it. And that's it. You don't have to explain yourself any further. But by you giving yourself that space to really sit with this invitation and to really tune into whether you actually want to do it or not, this gives you a greater sense of connection to yourself and to that person. And then you can actually answer truthfully rather than just answering in the moment and saying yes out of this place of being a people pleaser. And again, I understand that it's not always possible to take 48 hours or a day or a week to answer to someone's invitation. Sometimes you've got to answer in the moment. But if in that moment you really feel like it's not in alignment, if you feel like you don't actually want to do it, then it's time to honor that. Speak truthfully about the way that you feel. You don't have to tell them that I don't want to do that, or you don't have to let them down. You can literally say, right now, I'm feeling a little depleted. I'm feeling a little empty. I'm feeling like this particular opportunity doesn't feel in alignment with me. And so I appreciate you offering, but I'm going to pass this time. You see how you've spoken truthfully about what you feel, and you've shared that with them. And you haven't shared that in a way that says, I'm rejecting you, or I don't want to be with you, or I don't want to help you out. You're actually just acknowledging what's coming up for you And this is self-love. This is self-respect. This is emotional intelligence. And I guarantee that person's going to respect that. Maybe they won't. And if they don't, that's okay. At least you've truly acknowledged what's coming up for you. The more that you honor and acknowledge your truth, what's coming up for you, and you share that with others, you share that with the world, I truly believe that you're going to continue to attract people, places, opportunities, and experiences that are more aligned with your highest self, your truest self, your most authentic self. And it can be scary, it can be overwhelming, but it all begins right now. You're rewiring the neural pathways in your brain. You're unlocking energetic blockages and trauma that is stored within your nervous system, within your body. You're bringing that up to the surface, and you're reminding yourself that it is safe and healthy to honor and acknowledge your truth, to honor what is on your heart, to share that with other people, because this leads to connection. This strengthens the connection you have to yourself and to other people. And this is super, super important on your healing journey, especially if you've had the people-pleasing tendencies and patterns in the past. This is essential to start honoring and acknowledging your truth and sharing that with others. This wraps up this episode. I trust this has been helpful for you. If it has, pass it forward, share it with a friend, leave a comment, leave any questions you have in the comments section. Remember to rate, remember to follow along for next week's episode, and I appreciate you being here. Venture beyond limitation. Let's go, fam.